Welcome to Unchartered and Unfiltered, the journey back to you. I am Cynthia Jamieson, your host, and this is where we break free from the noise and dive deep into what truly matters you. If you're tired of the shoulds, the expectations, and the pressures to fit into a mold that doesn't serve you, you're in the right place. This isn't a podcast about easy answers or sugar coated advice. This is your invitation to reclaim your path, embrace the unknown, and become the bold, unapologetic version of yourself that's been waiting to show up. It's time to get unfiltered. Let's get started. Hello, hello, and welcome back or welcome in to Uncharted and Unfiltered, a journey back to you. I am your host, Cynthia Jamieson, and I'm so grateful that you are here with me today. I always imagine these conversations that I have with you as we are in the living room and we're sitting on opposite ends of the couch or maybe in separate chairs, and we're just having a personal conversation. And that's what I want to do today. Because what I want to name in this episode is something that most leaders secretly feel but can't quite explain. And that is this invisible tug between the life that looks right and the one that actually feels like home. So, my intention is by the end of this conversation today, you will see why all of your mindset tools haven't been enough, how your body has been trying to get your attention, and what it really means to rebuild the kind of self trust that changes everything. So, take a breath. Drop your shoulders, let yourself arrive. You say that you want to live and lead authentically. I mean, that's why you're here, to finally feel like you again. And somewhere between all of the doing and delivering, you started to disappear. And I know that you've done the work. You've listened to the podcasts. You've got the planners. You've learned how to be a positive thinker. And still, something in you whispers, I'm tired. And that isn't weakness. That's wisdom. Your nervous system saying, I don't feel safe being me yet. And I want to be super clear. You are not broken. You're brilliant at surviving. And now it's time to remember how to live. Notice what happens when you let that in. Maybe your breath deepens. Maybe your heart softens. That is self trust in motion. That is your system remembering what safety feels like. If you've ever noticed yourself when you arrive somewhere and you're just like, ah, that is self-trust. That is a moment where your body is speaking to you with little cues. When you get in bed at night and you lean over or depending on how you sleep, if you are a back sleeper, if you're a side sleeper, whatever it is, if you notice these little moments where your body expresses to you, I'm safe, that's self trust. And so I just want to pause for a moment because something has been shifting behind the scenes for me too. Now, most of you know if you've been with me for a while that I've created a community space called Be the Light, and that is where I have tools and resources that I used when my life felt really heavy. And so everything that I have available to me to offer to you to come and lead yourself through those experiences are there. And I also have a membership there. And that was all born from the belief that when we show up as our truest selves, we light the way for others to do the same. And I feel really called to have a caveat here because one of the things that I will say has been incredibly important in the work that I've done with myself and with the leaders that I coach is having an awareness to our how our brains work and also around the parts of us that can sabotage us and the parts of us that can come out and be an ally for us. And that came to me in the work that I did with the saboteurs. That is the work of positive intelligence. I've talked about it so many times on the podcast, and it bears repeating because I know many of you are in the community space. What I don't know is whether you are leveraging the tools that are there to help you raise your awareness. And just like anything, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And if you really want to live and lead your life authentically, it's going to be a challenge to lead yourself through some of these things. And that's what I want to be able to talk to you about today. And I realized as I was taking a step and thinking about, okay, what is it that I'm wanting to create in the next phase and stage of my work? I realized something. I realized that at the crux of everything, at the root of everything, is this one question that keeps coming up. Every time I create a piece of content, every time I create a podcast episode for you, in almost every coaching conversation I have with leaders across 19 countries, this one thing shows up. And it's a question beneath everything. And here's the question: do I trust myself enough? Enough to slow down when the world screams hustle? Enough to tell the truth when silence would be easier? Enough to lead from presence instead of pressure? And let that be enough. That question has become the heartbeat of this next chapter. It is why Be the Light has evolved into the self trust arc, the sacred and practical space for high integrity humans who are ready to lead from wholeness, not performance. And I want to qualify something. When I say a sacred and practical space, here's what I mean. It's sacred because what happens there stays there. It's not shared with anyone. It's not that it's going to be all woo woo or anything like that. When I say sacred, that's not what I mean. But it will be a place that's sacred for you to come up and to be able to show up and be who you are and bring what's on your mind, what's on your heart, what's truly in your way, so that you can get support and be able to lead yourself through that. That's what I mean by that. This is a place where you learn to lead yourself from a place of wholeness, where all of those various parts of you are all welcome because they're all part of you. And we lead from that place, not performance. Because here's what I've learned: when you carry what isn't yours, and trust me, I've done it, it drains your energy, it dulls your power, and it hides your presence, not to mention your brilliance. And every time you do, the world loses a little of your magic. And you can't keep leading from truth if you abandon your own. That is a thought that I have written on the outside of my journal. I've had it there for months and months because there's a cost to that. And the cost is not just exhaustion, it is the quiet ache of dissonance, that gap between what's true and what's tolerated, between who you are and who you want to be. It's belonging fatigue, the emptiness that comes from fitting in where your soul doesn't. It's that hollow moment when your success finally arrives and still you feel unseen. That's what self abandonment feels like, being a stranger inside your own life. And it feels terrible. Now, over the time that I have been doing this work, every return to self trust moves through three stages: awareness, alignment, and embodiment. And awareness is that moment when you finally see the pattern. It's like, oh, there you are. Alignment is when you begin to choose differently. Embodiment is when your body finally believes you're safe to be who you are. And if you're somewhere between awareness and embodiment right now, here's what it might sound like for you. You keep looking outside of yourself for validation. You live mostly in your head, thinking about life instead of feeling it and living it. You hold it all in, polished, composed, quietly lonely. You carry too much, mistaking control for safety. You're afraid to slow down because you're afraid it might all fall apart. You second guess your own knowing, trusting experts over your intuition. You don't have a place to be real because you're always on, performing. And maybe most of all, you've confused self trust with mindset when it's really a practice of remembering what safety feels like inside your own skin. These are not flaws, they're survival and protection codes. They helped you make it here. They just weren't meant to take you further. So if you're nodding along with me right now, you're in good company. The quiet revolution of enough. Now, one of my clients told me a few weeks ago, before I hit send on any email, I read it 6 times. I get butterflies in my stomach, worried that it might come off wrong. And I keep asking myself, am I even qualified to lead this? And you could feel the tension humming beneath the perfection. And we worked on one simple shift. It was a single line to anchor his energy. And here was the line: I am uniquely qualified. Now, we did a bunch of coaching to get there, but he used this line like a breath before meetings, in traffic, when his mind started to spin. And within a week, everything changed. He led onboarding with ease. He built alignment with a VP for new work. And even his wife said, "You're lighter." And when I asked him what changed, he smiled and he said, "Every time I say it, I breathe deeper. I stop proving and start choosing." And that's the moment the mind and the body reunite. That's embodiment, the power that no title can give you and no failure can take away from you. And so, what's the real cost of not trusting yourself? The hours lost rewriting an email, the sleep lost second guessing a conversation, the energy lost pretending you're fine. Self doubt is incredibly expensive and it drains more than your time. It drains your aliveness. Ask me how I know. That's why I created the Self Trust Arc, to help you reclaim it. And inside the arc, we don't rush your readiness, we regulate it. We begin with awareness in the free community. That is the space to pause, to notice, and to come home to your own authority because you are the subject matter expert on you. And then we move into alignment and embodiment in the membership, where awareness becomes transformation. And it's not about learning more. I want to be really clear about that. It is about remembering differently. Of course, you will learn, but it's not about learning more. Because when you have your own back, you lead differently and people feel it. And here's what I want you to know: the arc isn't something you join. I mean, technically it is because you sign up to it and you get a username and all of that, but it's a space for you to come and remember how powerful you are because you have been walking this path your whole life. We just walk it together now, consciously, compassionately, and in good company. And we take the things that are on your mind and on your heart and we sift through them so that you can come to the clarity that you need to be able to take the step that you feel is the next best one for you. And so, if you want to experience this in real time, I want you to come and join me inside of the Self Trust ARC membership. There are going to be 2 live sessions this month. Each of them will be 60 minutes. There is no prep, there is no posturing, there is just your presence. And the first one is Meet Me on the Ark on Tuesday, November the 12th at 12:30. Actually, it is, I'm just realizing now, let me just check in real time. It is not Tuesday because that's tomorrow. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday at 12:30. That is the first session. And the second one is called From Pressure to Presence on Thursday, November the 21st at 1 o'clock. And both of these times are Atlantic Standard Times. Membership is $111 a month, and I love this price so much. And here's why. Most of us spend more than that on a coffee. $5 a day to keep ourselves going, but caffeine only keeps you awake, whereas self-trust will wake you up. Coffee fuels your alertness, but self-trust is here to fuel your aliveness. And the return isn't in dollars at all. It is in the peace that you feel when you stop outsourcing your own power. It's in the clarity that stays when the caffeine wears off. And it's the moment that you stop managing your image and start inhabiting your life. Because the real expense isn't money. It's the energy you spend abandoning yourself. And it's keeping you stuck from the things that you're here to create, the people you're here to touch, the dreams that you're here to walk into. So if you've been trying to think your way forward and it's not working, it's time to listen to something quieter, the part of you that already knows. Stop trying to earn your freedom. Remember it. Stop outsourcing your worth. Start trusting your rhythm again. Because the moment you stop betraying yourself, you don't just find freedom, you become it. Thank you for walking this path with me, for your courage, your tenderness, your light. Every time you choose trust over proving, you light the way for someone else to do the same. So may you trust your timing, honor your truth, and return again and again to the quiet power that has been yours all along. I'm Cynthia, and this is Unchartered and Unfiltered, a journey back to you. I hope that you're walking away feeling more aligned with your true self, more confident in the choices ahead, and ready to leave the safe path behind, knowing you've got everything you need within. Remember, the journey to you isn't about finding one perfect direction. It's about trusting yourself enough to explore all of it. If you're ready to dive deeper, join me for the next episode and don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss the next step on your path. I invite you to join my mailing list at www.cynthiajamisoncoach.ca, where we'll deepen our relationship and you can claim your copy of Your Inner Compass, a guide to charting your course to authenticity. Until next time, stay unfiltered, stay true, and most importantly, stay you.